Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo. Tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Pooba, Senator, Pagoda, Grinder, and Bam Bam. A full house of lizards. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some scotch, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 77th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a New World cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We discuss the story behind the Norteño cigar line. We enter a YouTube vortex on nomad van life, and we share our favorite warm weather cigars, all among a variety of other things for the next hour. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair the Macallan 12-year aged Sherry Oak Cask Scotch with Drew Estate Herrera Esteli Norteño in Lonsdale. A Lonsdale tonight from Drew Estate on the pod. It's called the Norteño. It's 44 ring gauge by 6.5. And, it doesn't really look like a Lonsdale to me.
No.
It looks almost more like, it reminds me of how the Padron Hammer looks.
Exactly right.
The 50-year.
I think you're right.
It almost looks more like not a Toro, but like a Robusto Extra or something. Like the box press, it just does not feel like.
Looks like a Exclusivo.
Yes, like a longer Exclusivo,
and
another inch.
The toothiness is also reminiscent of an Exclusivo, I think.
It's not in the same way.
A bit.
It's definitely a bigger ring gauge Lonsdale.
Right.
Yeah.
They're usually 42, 43.
Yeah,
Right?
and
This
this
is
one's
a
44. And what's interesting too, we've had some listeners, we're in the block of Lanceros and Lonsdales, long skinnies, as I've said, and the Lancero is a much more strict 38 ring gauge. That's a Lancero. Anything more than that, it's not a Lancero. For Lonsdale, it's a little bit more of a kind of a gap on what they can do. And like I said, this just doesn't feel like one, but let's see how it is.
Because there's a little bit of a box press to it.
It's
The only
very
thing I have to
interesting.
say that stands out to me, so the wrapper smells great. I'll start there with something positive, but
I'm glad
the
you brought that
wrapper,
up.
yeah,
Let's see
because
that.
Bam said, it reminds him of like an Exclusivo in kind of the wrapper and how toothy it is, and it does not for me in the sense that for some reason the way this is rolled, it's very lumpy.
Yeah.
Like
It is
you can
toothy.
see the tobacco. No. When a wrapper's toothy, which some Padrones even can be toothy in the wrapper itself is a little rough, but it is still smooth in that you don't see any tobacco
He's right.
protruding from it.
Yeah.
Look how smooth
You can
the
actually see
Padron-
it from here. It's
but
so
when
true.
You look at this, the tobacco is literally like protruding more from parts of
Yeah.
the cigar. So
Yeah.
I just have to say, for whoever rolls these or whoever rolled this cigar, I mean, this could have been done better.
Absolutely. I'm definitely concerned about construction.
It's lumpy.
Try
Very
the,
lumpy.
the cold draw is delicious, though.
Well, we
guys.
haven't cut it yet, Bam. Let's do
Oh,
that.
I'm so sorry.
Mm.
What are you getting?
I'm getting a little fruit,
Mm-hmm.
mild cocoa maybe.
I get
Raisins.
Raisin.
Raisin.
Like a Liga 9, honestly.
Yeah.
Sun-made.
So Grinder and I are probably the only two guys in this room that have had this cigar.
I've never had it.
It is, for me, reminiscent of a Liga 9.
I definitely get that Liga Maduro,
Yeah.
but I'll reserve
see.
my commentary.
All right, boys, let's light this thing. The Drew Estate Norteño Lonsdale. Again, it's 44 ring gauge by 6.5. Box pressed. A little lumpy.
Oatmeal like.
It's like the difference between steel cut and rolled oats. I mean, it's just
This is the kind you get from Starbucks.
Yeah.
The lumpy kind.
I do stand corrected. Well, like many cigars, it's delicious on the light.
Yep. That's the classic tale, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely. It definitely is a Drew Estate. Drew Estate has that fingerprint on it, that Nicaraguan thing. There's definitely a DNA a line of DNA that runs through their cigars that's very consistent. Liga all the way down to the undercrown. It's definitely there. So
Yeah.
it's definitely present in this one.
It's the fillers are from Jalapa and Esteli, so the heart of the rich Nicaraguan growing, like very volcanic and very mineral, just very intense soil. The binder is Honduran, which is a little different, and then there's a San Andreas Maduro wrapper over the top.
See how this thing performs tonight.
2 observations. One, this feels great in the hand. This literally reminds me of just holding an Exclusivo. I love a box press. Like, this is perfect in the hand. And I will say the flavor is actually really nice to start.
It is.
Yeah. I think you're getting a lot of the dried fruit here, but it's also very rich earth tone and coffee. And raisin for me is standing out front.
And it doesn't have that, we've talked about this. It's been a revelation, I would say, in 2023 with Nicaraguan cigars we've had,
Right.
where it's not kicking you in the face,
But
even though it's a Nicaraguan Puro. It's going to probably get there, I would assume, but it's really, really smooth on the light. I would say fully medium. That's about it. Medium.
I will tell you that if you smoke this very quickly, it will back right up into you.
So you're talking to yourself there, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to say to Senator's point is I do wish that they made the Exclusivo in this exact size.
Yeah.
If the Exclusivo had another inch on it,
Oh, dude.
I'd love it 10 times more.
Do you know how
than
many
I
jokes I
already
can
do.
make with that?
Anyone playing Bam Bam Bingo, you had your innuendo card.
I mean, even the flavor profile, there are Padron notes in this
Yeah,
cigar,
come on,
which
man.
I really like.
You're reading my mind a little bit. And I was just kind of thinking, like if this was blind, I would be like, is this a Padron? I mean, maybe some of those construction things, if I looked closely enough, would throw me off. But I would be like I would be in leaning towards that. I mean, I wouldn't guess. I don't know I don't know these Nicaraguan New Worlds as well outside of Padron, like the brands, to be able to tell.
Sure.
But I'd be leaning towards those what Senator said.
I mean, just on the light,
it's got some of that DNA.
I know we're on the light, but that's a huge compliment, right?
It is.
It
but
is.
but there is a tanginess, I think, in this cigar that you don't get in any Padron. So that I think distinguishes it from what a Padron is.
I haven't had
I'm
enough of it yet.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's a carbon copy.
Oh, no.
But what
No,
I'm
no.
getting at, I think Puba is, I mean, if you
Yeah.
were to just have this blind and take a few puffs,
Mm-hmm.
the closest, most familiar flavor profile to this would probably be Padron.
Sure.
There's something on
in
the
fact, more so than the Liga.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's-
seem-
Oh,
definitely
yeah,
more than
yeah,
a
yeah.
week.
You know what?
Oh,
Pagoda's right on the
absolutely.
money. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it, I think Senator somebody said it, but it has something on the front of the tongue that is not Padron-like.
That was
That's
me.
a little different. Yeah, Bam said that.
That tanginess, I think, it distinguishes it from what that is.
But it's
Well, there's more cocoa. If you were to compare this like head to head against the Exclusiva, there's more cocoa in that Exclusiva, like off the bat. There's more of that those chocolate notes.
100%.
I think there's more coffee though in this than the
there's definitely some
Exclusivo.
coffee in this.
Yeah, I would say more coffee than.
I'm finding myself too when I draw it that I'm kind of like not chewing it, but like the smoke is like filling my mouth and coating it
Yeah.
in an interesting way that I'm kind of like wanting to chew it like a horse or something.
I do think Pagoda's on the money. It's not like anything like a Liga 9.
A clean horse.
Oh boy.
I don't know.
The
This is
innuendos are potentially flying around this room.
Grinder. Here's my question. We're talking about Padron comparisons. How much did this cost?
Oh, I bought these before. I bought these in like 2021, maybe.
So these are a couple years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know the tobacco's aged already, but they had some time in the box.
I'm gonna say about the $11 each.
Yeah, I would think they're between 11 and 15,
Mhm.
depending on where you are in the tax and all that.
In New York, probably 20.
I will say, off of the head of the cigar where the smoke is coming off, that's very Padron-like. to me.
$13.
$13. That's very Padron-like to me.
Have you taken the whiff on the line?
Yeah, the burn line's very nice.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, I'm just going to say very definitively, I'm sorry. We always talk about cigars that kind of bill themselves as the Padron killer or this is Padron-like. This, to me, is the closest thing I've had to a Padron that is not a Padron. in flavor profile.
Including the ash. I mean, if you just look at it.
It's
I
bright
mean, it's
white.
box press, bright white
Right.
ash because
Yeah.
the Nicaraguan soil,
Sure.
the flavor profile, cocoa, coffee, all that. I mean, it's
Yeah, blind. It's like I was, as you said that, I'm going, if this was blind, I'd be leaning towards what Padron is this? Maybe.
Yeah. Willie Herrera, this is like this. I think this came out. I remember when this came out because I was in the former lounge of ours. I think it was like 2017 or something like that. And he had a cigar previously that I loved, the Herrera Esteli. And I love that cigar. I love it in they had like a nice Toro size that wasn't really as long as a Toro, but it was a little thicker. It was like a bigger. It was a perfect size cigar, and the flavor was out of this world. And I said, whatever this guy's doing, he's doing great. And then he came out with this, and they build it as a very intense and rich cigar. I remember when I had it, it knocked me off my feet the first time I had it.
So
No, you're talking about the red and white band.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And by the way, we did that. We did the Herrera Esteli Habano Robusto Grande
It
on
didn't
episode 29.
didn't do very well with
It
us.
did not perform as well as I think this might.
No.
this is much fuller than that.
Oh, yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
yeah,
right.
that cigar didn't have enough flavor for
Yep,
me. That
that's
was my
right.
complaint.
Well, it's a
That's right.
different. It's not. It's a very different cigar. Yeah.
I got to say, I really like the band on this cigar. And I think we talked about it when we did some other Drew Estate cigars. I love how all of the different bands for the different lines that they have are all completely different.
Mm-hmm.
They're all
It
different.
looks like the Ramona.
Yeah.
This has, I was going
Yeah.
to say, this has a little
Rooster mentioned that too. I agree.
the old school Ramon,
It's very cool.
the green and cream color,
Yeah.
beige.
That's where it's being inspired from. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no doubt about it.
There's a bird on it. I guess that's the Norteño and some words about Drew Estate.
Norteño actually means northerner.
Northern.
I'm trying to find the story.
That's what we
the
are.
backstory of why it's northerner, but
There's actually another cigar by Drew Estate, which is a very similar band. I'm trying to think of it. But as you know, I have no memories.
so the phrase the Norteño rephrase to it pays an homage to Esteli, home of Herrera Esteli, and Norteño means northerners in Spanish. So Esteli is in the northern part of Nicaragua.
Got it.
So to me, this is like a spicy Padron exclusive.
It is spicy. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Accurate.
Yeah, it doesn't have the dessert flavors that are as pronounced as the Exclusivo does, that are very forward, particularly at the beginning of a Padron Exclusivo. There's
Yeah.
very dessert like flavors
There's a lot
that
of
are
cocoa.
very, very forward.
He's right.
This has some of that DNA, but you're right. It does have that.
Yeah, it has some spice.
You're
Mhm.
right. Yeah.
This is not a Maduro, right? The
It is.
wrapper?
I think
It
it
is.
It is a Maduro.
Yeah.
It's actually on the label here. It says cured black cigar leaf.
You know, but that could be a merit, whether you like it or not. That could be a merit in this blend,
Mm.
if that's your jam.
Oh, we love a Maduro wrapper.
Sure.
No, I mean the spicy part,
Oh,
Yeah.
as opposed to we keep comparing it to the Exclusivo because
I'm going to say something crazy.
Someone may like that,
I think
mean?
this might be closer for me to what the Padron Diplomatico delivers in the 1964 line, even than the Exclusivo. Because when I light up that Churchill from them, it does give me a little bit more. I think the flavor profile is a little closer to this because I think the Exclusivo is a little more earthy.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a little bit more Diplomatico.
so the only I'm not sure that I agree. The reason I say that the Diplomatico to me always smokes sweeter than the Exclusivo does, and so to me it's more Exclusivo like in that the Exclusivo is a little drier, and what's driving that is those like earthy notes you're talking about. And I think here the earthy notes are just replaced by some spice, but the rest of it is very similar.
Yeah, it's to me, it's more like the Padron 90th.
Really?
The spice.
That's a huge
the
compliment too.
90th.
Sure
is,
it is.
90th is like typical Padron DNA with spice.
Yeah.
but there's
So this
way
has-
more coffee in that.
Yeah.
There's way more. It's like espresso plus.
I really love this, by the way, because I've been talking about this cigar for years.
Yeah. By the way, this has been on the list for like 4 months.
I'll be honest. So I'm really glad we are doing this. Like you have talked about this for a very long time. And I think you had mentioned the Herrera Esteli one, and I didn't love that cigar. So I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical of this. I was like, maybe this Drew Estate like is not outside of like Liga or the Liga 9 is not really in my wheelhouse, but this is like a totally different experience.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah. Honestly, no one's mentioned the performance of this thing. The
It's
ash,
burning great.
The burn is razor sharp.
Yeah.
The draw is fantastic. The combustion's great. It's a smoky room, and it's really quite delicious.
You know what I love about the draw though is it's not completely open.
No, there's a little tightness
just a
there.
touch,
Exactly.
bit of resistance that's perfect for the cigar.
And I don't want to jump ahead, but the pairing tonight,
You're jumping ahead.
dude, it is incredible.
So before we get there, I just want to tell the listener
Yeah.
who's maybe uninitiated with us. So we talk a lot about Padron, especially when we do a New World that's kind of in that same
Well, the
flavor
Padron is a
profile.
lizard standard.
It's a lizard standard, and it's kind of our benchmark for really well-performing Nicaraguan cigars. And to have this be even in a conversation with some of the Padrones we've mentioned, I mean, the 90th that the Rooster just mentioned, that's an expensive
It's a world
premium
class
cigar.
It's a world class cigar.
World class cigar. And obviously we smoke a lot of Exclusivo and Diplomatico. So to have that in the conversation for us is just, it's a huge compliment to this cigar.
Sure.
You know,
I hope it continues to perform as well as it is now.
I hope so too.
I'm getting that thing that,
You're satisfied.
well, the
Mm-mm.
relaxation factor,
Yeah.
where you're kind of like slowing down, you're breathing, you're like not fighting. I'm not in a fight with this.
Yep.
I'm not in a fight with it. Like well, we've been in fights with cigars before. Do you know what I'm saying? On this
Oh, you
pod.
oh, you don't say.
You know, I'm kind of holding my breath right now. I don't know what he's gonna fucking say.
No. We've been in fights with cigars, like where you're battling something. I'm not battling anything right now.
And we've been in fights,
You
by
know
the
what I'm
way.
saying? I'm
We've
not
been in
battling
fights with
anything. It's
expensive cigars.
Mm.
This is a $13 cigar that's delivering that.
I'm not in a battle right now.
Yeah, but this cigar has sat in Grinder's humidor for about 3 years now.
Yeah, it's
right?
definitely
Wow.
helped. I would
That
say.
has helped.
Oh, sure.
That helps.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Are you in a fight with this? I'm
No.
in a
Not
fight.
at all. No,
No.
I'll just say flat out,
I'm not in a fight.
I am extremely happy with this cigar
Yeah,
right now.
agreed.
If this can stay like this,
Agreed.
it's going to get a very high score from me.
Yeah, you know, the beauty of the Exclusivo, it stays so consistent from beginning to end. That consistency it's world class construction, right?
Yep.
Let's see how this does.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right, Bam. Tee us
Wow,
up. Your
wow.
favorite thing.
This is
My favorite thing.
You're the master of this.
I don't
You're
know,
like
but-
every episode.
What about that pairing? What
You're-
a,
You know, I love that you're giving the people what they want.
I'm getting
Thank you.
goosebumps about this pairing.
I am very excited that we are doing this tonight.
Senator can talk eons about that Macallan 12 that we're drinking right now, but it is really pairing beautifully with this guy.
Yeah, and
this
it's as much of a staple.
Right?
I'm sorry, Senator. It's as much of a staple to us as the Padron Exclusivo.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. So honestly, when we broke out Macallan for this, I wasn't familiar with this cigar, having not tried it before. And all I could think of in the back of my head is, oh man, if we were just reviewing a Padron, it would pair perfectly with a Macallan 12 Sherry, which is what we're drinking right now.
Yeah.
And lighting this cigar, we're all sitting here splitting hairs about, is it the Exclusivo? Is it the Diplomatico?
The
Is it the 90th? I mean, all these Padron notes we're getting, there is nothing better to pair that with than Macallan 12 Sherry cask.
The finish. So I'm just finding the finish is long on this cigar, I think. For me at least.
Yeah, same. here.
It's got a long finish, so I'm finding myself not, going back to it and kind of like chasing flavor. I'm kind of just
Along for the ride.
Yeah.
along for the ride.
And
So
what-
I think that's a merit.
What's interesting about the Macallan 12, it also has a very long finish for me.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
It pairs perfectly
It
with
really
that long
does. It
finish.
just gives you it sustains your palate for the night. It's really beautiful.
And they're
No.
very complimentary because when you take that draw and it stays in your mouth and you take a small sip,
Oh,
just a small sip, the flavors are just really dancing together.
it's off the
Yeah.
charts.
It's
You know,
really perfect.
I think of this reminds me of like I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about like good cigar experiences that I have outside of this group.
Yeah.
My wife's uncle, like I smoke cigars with him like around the holidays. Like this is the type of a cigar that he would gift me.
Mm.
And it's like a Drew Estate or a Liga, you know, because that's his wheelhouse. You know what I mean? And it reminds me of him.
That's cool.
And it's like relaxing. Like, you know what? Like, I'm not in a rush with this. Like, it's got this long finish. It's got it's I'm cool with it. Do you know what I mean? I'm cool with the cigar. Like, this is not
This
like
is the
I don't
beauty.
need to rush it. It's like
It's a great point because he's
just-
making a fabulous point because we've talked about other new worlds that we've reviewed. What would you give to a guest that comes
Yes.
to your house
Oh yeah.
and you want to give him a high quality cigar? You know, I know a story that Senator told. He gave several boxes of exclusivos away. And it could be painful depending on the crowd.
Yeah.
Just a little.
A little bit.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic candidate for that type of a situation.
But you know what? You know what I love about what's happening right now is we're talking about a $13 cigar, right?
Mhm.
A Drew Estate, and we've had hit or miss experiences on the pod. This is certainly a hit so far, but the fact that this is delivering that satisfaction, or even priming his memory to someone that he appreciates, that he enjoys smoking cigars with. That's what's beautiful about this thing that we do is like, if this cigar was $50 or $10 or it's $13, it's delivering a really wonderful experience
it's
right
perfectly
Yeah.
good. It's like this reminds me of sitting on the porch with Uncle Mark and talking, you know what I mean, and having like a smoke, like at the you know, Christmas Eve, like, hey, come on outside, let's
Sneak out.
let's sneak out, let's sit on the front porch, you know,
Let's be
and
lizards.
let's be lizards, right?
You know how visual that is for me?
And
Yeah.
I
I
sit
love,
down
I
and
love
we-
it.
and
I love it.
and it's like oh yeah, you know, and he was in the cigar business before he retired and had access to a lot of cigars like these, like Drew Estates and Liga, and like this is the type of cigar he'd give me, and they'd always be good. Sometimes I wasn't always familiar with what they were. But this is the type of cigar because he liked Nicaraguan tobacco, and it's like, this is good.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's like kind of relaxing. I
Yeah.
like it.
This
I really
reminds
like
me
the cigar.
of smoking on like a good spring day as
Mhm.
well. Like just, you know, when the birds start chirping, the sun is out, the leaves are coming to bloom in the trees, flowers are coming out. Great spring cigar.
Mm.
It's got some body. It's got, you know, it's got that mellow tone, not melatonin, but mellow tone. And, you know, you can just, to your point, you don't have to fight it. And
Great smoke output.
Here's a
yeah.
question for the dads in the room. So, you know, I often project ahead, and when I'm going to have a cigar with my son for the first time, that's going to happen. I often think about what cigar I'm going to introduce my son to. And, you know, when you have a newbie that's near you and you're going to have a cigar with that person, you give that guy or girl, whomever, a cigar to experience, and you have a conversation with them. This cigar is fantastic because of everything that you guys have said about it. Because there's parallels to the cigar that we all love, the Padron line.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about, and they'll learn a lot just from that experience, I think.
and the aroma in this room right now is really
It's
great.
so good.
It's
Yeah.
intoxicating.
It's
Like
so
everyone's
good.
smoking
Yeah.
a cigar.
This is burning wonderfully, and I think that's for all 7 of us. Like, it's really
It is.
performing remarkably right now.
Yeah. And just to go back to that, I think it's a great starter. Could be a great starter for those few newbies.
Yeah, I think if you know, to Puba's point, you have a nice dinner.
Yeah.
It's a spring day, to Grinder's point,
Mm-hmm.
and you're able to go outside. You know this is going to smoke great, even
Sure.
if there's a little bit of wind. It's going to smoke great.
This will do great in the fall,
It's going to do great.
early winter. It's got great body.
This
think-
is a
think-
great
think-
all-purpose cigar.
I
Think
agree.
of the adaptability of an exclusivo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
As Puba
slot
says,
it
you
in.
could smoke it in a tornado.
But would you smoke this during the daytime, or do you see yourself smoking?
I think I would.
after
Of
dinner.
course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
I could smoke this after lunch. Like,
Yeah.
you have a nice, like a salmon salad, a chicken
Sure.
salad or something.
I want to be clear.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, Jesus.
In the car?
Oh, Jesus.
Everybody turn off their microphones.
While driving,
Oh, no.
have a nice salmon salad, chicken salad.
In your-
Get
in
in
your-
the Volkswagen and just strap the bucket to your neck.
Yes. I just saw they make an accessory for the car. I think it's for Tesla.
See, now this is a friend.
A salad shelf.
This is a friend.
It's literally
It's
like
a shelf.
table.
He's
that
a good friend.
attaches.
He's recommending you get a Tesla. To
I
use
have
this
one
accessory.
friend in the room who's recommending me dinner accessories for my car.
It's
Wow.
like it's
A
like
hot plate?
It's a table that attaches to your wheel.
Wow.
So while you're sitting down, you have a plate. To,
You know, there's another.
If you're a new listener,
Oh God.
Gizmo.
There we go.
If you're a new listener, the backdrop here is that Gizmo eats salads
While doing
his-
70 miles an hour.
in his vehicle.
not just salads.
Not
Chicken pot pie.
chicken pot pie.
not chicken pot pie, salads, odd food items while driving. If you're out there and you also eat salad while driving, please write us.
I need some defense.
Right.
Help me.
I doubt we'll find anybody, but it's odd behavior. But we love you.
And we don't recommend
I
it.
love you. You know what though?
It's not a Mexamel. It's not like a Crunch Wrap Supreme from Taco Bell, which is meant to be held in your hand, or like a McDonald's cheeseburger, and you just maul it while you drive. Like that's designed for eating and driving, one-handed.
This cigar
How do
has
you secure the bowl?
this
How do you
cigar has
secure
me
the
so
bowl?
relaxed that I'm not even taking the bait.
It doesn't matter what he says.
This cigar is so good right now. By the way, I have a great method, but I'll share it on the website.
Put the car on autopilot. Put the tray down. Put the salad. Just go to
Yeah.
town.
Let's go.
There's even a mattress you could put in the back of a Tesla Model Y or Model X. You could just live out of your car going forward, Giz.
I could just live right in the parking
We got to
lot
get
here.
you on the Tesla train.
I like
You know what
it.
I'm into? I've been watching these videos. It's just weird. You go into like a YouTube
Vortex.
vortex.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys
He said
do this.
YouTube, by the way.
I
don't
know.
know.
Uh-oh.
I'm very relaxed. I'm not on the attack. I'll get there.
So like,
About the vortex.
yeah. So like, you what? I don't know if you guys watch YouTube at night or whatever to fall asleep. or
Rooster
whatever.
does.
I do.
Rooster watches it to wake up, research, go to
Shop.
sleep, shop.
So like, I've watched a couple of videos, and then of course, once you watch a couple, you get them in your feed or whatever, of these people who live in vans.
Oh boy.
It's called like van life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I came in this hole too. I was in the foxhole with you.
Did you go? Did you see this?
Yeah, I see it all the time.
So there are these people, and
Down by the river?
Some of them.
Well,
Yeah.
no, they live like these awesome lives.
they live
apparently.
these. Well, that's what it looks like,
Yeah.
But they live in like these Mercedes Sprinter vans,
Yeah.
and they go all over the place, and they.
And they own music schools.
Well, only
I resent the implication.
No, but it's just interesting. Like they go in these Sprinter vans and they go all over. They go like long distances, and they sleep in them, and they have these like heaters and stuff. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I've seen all
stuff?
this. I watched the ski bums. The ski bums are
Yeah,
the
the
best.
ski bums,
and they're like eating eggs, and they're doing their pull ups in the van.
yeah,
and they're like,
yeah.
Let me tell you something. These people have a very simple life, and I bet they're super happy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's the fantasy. So you look at this and you go, wow, like if I could just like simplify my life, because you got to wake up and like actually be a real human being like the next day. So this is like an escape. You have to like actually wake up and like go to meetings and be responsible and
Feed your family.
Yeah, put together cohesive sentences and thoughts and recommendations and be like a real human. These guys so you watch this and you're like, well, look at these people, like they don't have to do any of that. They just like whittle, they get wood
whittle wood.
together.
They live
and
off
they,
the land.
and they're in these vans. You've seen this?
yeah, it's the best. It's the best. There's this guy, like they're taking showers in the van, and then
Yeah.
the shower breaks down, and then they have to like go to the YMCA to get a shower, and they're making bacon in the morning and saving the bacon grease for later. It's great.
Oh, and they're sending up drones. So
Oh, yeah.
you'd appreciate this, Giz, from a production standpoint. So like
Production?
yeah, from a production standpoint, since you're a producer, they put drones up. So they take these drones and they'll fly the drone up, and then the drone's following the van.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Like an
And-
aerial view.
Aerial view.
I
So
like
they're going
that.
to these really like.
I'm going to get a drone for the pod.
You should. Let's talk about that.
All right.
See if it's in the budget. The but
We don't have any other cameras, but we're going to
By
get
the
a
way,
drone.
gonna get a
Poop is
drone.
alive right now. Okay, he's alive.
But they throw the drone up, and then the drone they'll send it up over like where they have the van parked, and it'll show the vista because they're doing this in beautiful places.
Yeah, they're going to the best
They're
places.
going to the
yeah,
most beautiful
yeah.
place. They're in Wyoming. They're in Oregon. Anyway, so YouTube vortex rabbit hole.
We
You
should
can
do
get
this
sucked
we should do this in Esteli.
Oh, that would go well.
It would go well. If you brought a drone to Cuba, though, you definitely wouldn't get that drone out. You
Oh,
may not get
no.
the drone even in.
No.
Let me tell you something. Going to Cuba, I brought a Bluetooth speaker. And I got just a Bluetooth speaker, like a little Bose. They had a panic attack coming into customs, thinking that I was bringing recording equipment. And obviously, we do the podcast, so that I was sensitive to that. And I was like, oh, leading up to it, I'm like, should we all bring mics? Should we all do it?
Yeah, I wonder who was saying that would be a terrible idea.
It was me, Senator. Anyway, yeah, they flagged me, but yeah, that would not fly. You cannot show up with a drone
No.
in Cuba.
There's no way.
That would
No,
not
no,
go
no.
well. That would not go well. By the way, so my wife is really into the same YouTube vortexes, and she turned me on to a film that was very in line with what you're talking about. With this, the amazing actress Frances McDormand,
Yeah, she's awesome.
incredible
Yep,
actress.
love her.
She did a movie called Nomadland.
I've
Oh,
heard of it.
yeah.
Yes.
Exactly this.
Yes.
And let me
yes.
tell you, it's a phenomenal film.
Yeah.
You
What's
need
it
to watch
about?
it. It's about exactly this van life.
So it's about this woman had a life and they all worked at a factory, or she worked with her husband.
Yep.
I forget. The
Yeah, it
details
was
of-
some
but-
sort of blue collar gig. Yeah.
she got laid off, and maybe her husband died, or
Mhm.
I forget. And she I think Amazon left the location, and then it took all the jobs away, and then she didn't know what else to do, so she lived in her van and started traveling and doing like
Odd Jobs.
odd jobs, day gigs, and then there's a community that develops around these people who live in their vans and just they're nomads. They're laborers, they're migrant workers, but they have a van.
Yeah.
you
They
know,
just
it's
go
a-
to where the work
It's
is.
it's I don't know if it's uniquely American, but it's a very American concept that you're a migrant worker, you have some fees, you have some ability to get garner a vehicle, and you need the vehicle because America's so fucking big. So you
Yeah.
live in your van. And
It's a great movie. I really
Yeah.
recommend it.
It got an
Nomadland.
Oscar.
But
It did.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
do these vans in this movie, are they like the vans I'm talking about?
they're not like-
pimped out.
no,
They're
I don't-
like
not
pimped
all.
out
Pretty
vans.
basic.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
basic.
it's like they don't have like
Not a
they don't have a
Sprinter.
It's not-
Sprinter. They
it's
have
not-
like a Chevy Astro.
It's not it's not
Because
influencer.
people are like running air fryers
No.
inside the van and like making
No.
chicken teriyaki and
You're
shit.
looking
When
at-
I'm
These-
watching.
these
that.
are these
You
are
know what I
not
mean?
these are not influencers.
Yeah, these are you're watching nomad influencers with drones. Like the
Right.
people in this movie are like
They're
they're not like
They're not at that level.
Very
Instagram. Yeah.
These are like Scooby Doo vans.
Yeah, exactly.
He's right. He's right.
I love the Scooby Doo van.
Hey, listen, I'd shack up with
Oh yeah,
I'd shack up with
You
what's
know
her
it.
name?
Velma.
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 Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think he meant Velma. but-
Daphne.
Daphne.
Daphne. Velma. the
I don't think he meant
Flintstones.
Velma.
Sorry.
Love.
Jesus, man.
Bam,
We-
bam. You never fail us.
Bam, aka the human hormone.
Turn off my mic.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
I'm gonna. Boys, I got to tell you, we're coming up, I guess, on the end of the first third here on this cigar.
Come on, kids.
It's unbelievable
It's a very good cigar.
for $13
Yeah.
for this size.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for years.
You
Mhm.
have.
Yeah,
I got to give it
yeah.
to you, Grinder. This is really damn good, man.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
It really is.
Honestly, I mean, I have not one single complaint about any
No.
part of this.
And I
experience.
find the flavor to be really interesting.
Isn't it getting a little sweet? For me, I'm getting a little sweetness.
There's
right
definitely
now.
sweetness there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
But-
think
but
the
not-
Macallan's elevating that.
It really, it is a little bit, but I have to say the fruit notes in this are strong. With the cocoa and earth notes, it's a complex cigar.
I think this is a cigar, to Pagoda's point, I think it pairs perfectly with Macallan 12 because
100%.
sometimes I think you can have Macallan 12 with, let's say, a Cuban cigar that's a little lighter and doesn't have as much oomph to it,
Mhm.
and it really can overpower any single malt Scotch can.
Yeah.
But I think the cigar is really really putting up a good fight
It
for
is.
attention
Mhm.
versus this excellent Scotch we have. That
There's
this is great.
There's a good dance between the two, and we haven't talked
Yes.
enough about the Macallan 12, that sherry cask. It's a Lizard staple. How important it is for us in this group to have that bottle in our lockers. It's a must.
And for longtime listeners who know that, who've listened to every episode, I mean, we did Macallan 12 very, very early on. And the reason why we're doing it again is we didn't start rating liquor until episode 13 or 14 or something, and Grinder brought it up, and we did it on a whim, and we've continued. So we're revisiting some of those early scotches and early pairings to give them a rating, which we're going to do tonight. But that's why we brought it back, and I'm so glad we did tonight because it's really working. It's really, really working.
We should also be clear to the listener.
Yes,
what
yes,
we're
nail it.
drinking is the Macallan 12 sherry cask.
The black box.
Black
Right,
box.
right.
There is another Macallan 12 in a blue box that's called the double cask.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, I'm sure, listeners that enjoy it. So I will try to be polite.
It's serviceable,
But
not like this.
my big frustration with it is that product was not made out of some desire to create this new wonderful experience for the consumer. It was created out of desperation because there was a global shortage of sherry casks that they aged the black box, what we're drinking in. And so they had to get clever, and they started using half the aging process in ex-bourbon barrels and only then the other half in sherry barrels, so they could produce more of this without having to wait 12 years in these sherry casks they have such a limited amount of. I think if you put them side by side and drink them, the Macallan 12 sherry cask just completely
Leaps
blows
and
out of the
bounds.
water.
It's
the
true.
double
So
cask.
It's true.
So the price delta on the black box versus the blue box is probably $20 or $30.
No,
I don't think so.
It's
Much
close.
less.
It's
$10.
very close.
10
Yeah.
to 12 bucks.
So
Yeah.
I think whatever rating we give this tonight, I think you subtract 20 points from it, and that's the blue box. That's probably about accurate, right?
Okay.
I mean,
the one thing about the when you order Macallan 12, and then when I was in, when was I? I was in DC, I guess. It was October, for some meetings, and
in your van.
no. I traveled by Excella, motherfucker.
I love it.
Chorizo omelet.
There you go.
Come on. Everybody knows that.
Did you save the bacon grease for later?
No, everybody. His senator knows my jam. He takes the same.
I know.
I've been taking that route a lot.
That's right.
It's a lizard approved route.
Yeah, it's a lizard approved.
You
route.
ride the high life.
The
we know that.
Barani chicken's a little bit spicy,
Oh,
but
it's good though.
He
It's
makes
good.
chicken
It's
piccata on
good.
his barbecue for crying
even
out loud.
that's edible.
I know.
anyway, that notwithstanding, the I just remember specifically being at a couple two different establishments in DC, ordering Macallan 12 and then looking, right? And you look and
Watch what they pull.
and looking
Yeah.
at what they pull and
Yeah.
then what they pour, and then they pour they have the blue, right?
Mhm.
The you could, because the labeling on the bottle towards the top is different, and they charge you kind of the same amount. You're kind of like, fuck off, but you're doing your thing, but in your mind you're saying,
So maybe it's
You-
rude.
well, no,
Hold
I'm just saying, if you're out, it is worth mentioning. If you're going to order Macallan and you want Macallan sherry cask, ask, is it sherry cask or is it the whatever the other fuck thing is, which I never
Double
drank.
Double cask.
Double cask.
Mhm.
It's worth asking the question. And the thing is, in the restaurants, they charge the same amount for it.
That's true.
Yeah, they don't
And
even
don't
know.
just ask. Also, once they bring it, try it, because
Well-
I can't count how many times I specifically asked. Do you have Macallan 12 sherry? Yes.
Yeah.
Sherry cask. It's black box. There's nothing blue on the label. Yes, sir. That's exactly what we have. And then they pour it and they bring it, and you can taste immediately it's not that, and then you get frustrated.
Yeah,
One
it
specific-
happens. You
yeah.
have to take it on the chin and just accept it.
Yeah,
It's not
there's-
like you're going to raise holy hell. But
No, I'm
is-
gonna make them take it back and pour me a glass of water. We're
There's
talking
a-
about Senator.
Yeah, of course. There's a workaround to all this. So I've come into the habit of asking them to bring the bottle to the table and pouring it at the table, so I get to see the label,
Mm.
just to make sure that I'm getting what I'm asking for. I do that with this, And I also do it with the Belvini. So
Did we just meet Bougie Bam?
That's so
I
extra.
was gonna say.
That is so extra.
No,
That's,
no.
that's a little Bougie Bam move.
That's not
there.
bougie. That's you're
No,
getting what
that's-
you're paying for. You're getting what you're paying for.
I don't disagree, but even I don't ask them to bring
No,
the
no,
bottle
no.
to the table. I mean,
It's-
Jesus.
It's a simple ask, and they're always accommodating.
I don't know if I'd have the balls to do that.
Oh no! They'll do it. They're very
I know
accommodating.
they'll
You know,
do it.
grinder, I'm with you.
That reminds me of your story
You know
about your
what?
tequila.
You guys,
Yeah.
You
I did that with
yeah.
tequila.
You gotta
That's
grow.
rough.
You gotta get some dick game, and you gotta ask for your bottle to be brought to the table.
That's Bougie Bam, boys.
There's a trust factor involved.
I trust
with
no one.
a bartender, with anyone that you're dealing.
Trust
you're
goes both
basically-
ways too.
Yeah,
to the-
you're
to the
basically
listener.
telling them, I don't trust you to pour what I asked you for, so I need you to do it in front of me.
That's okay. But to the listener, I mean, I think I've learned from everyone in this room. You want to get what you pay for. You make sure you get what you pay for.
I had that experience, as Pagoda just mentioned.
I remember that.
But I didn't call for the bottle. I just knew what we reach for this so much.
Well, your palate is so
You know
developed.
it.
now.
No, but we reach for this so much. You know what this tastes like.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody in this room,
Of course.
if we did a blind tasting of 10 single malt scotches, we could pick this out because we drink this. This is our number one, probably in line with Balvenie 12. It's right there for most of us with the scotch we drink the most.
Sure.
So if this is poured for us and it doesn't taste like we're having it tonight, we all know. So I had that experience at a casino in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
and I called them out on the tequila, and it was wrong, and I knew it. But I think your taste buds are gonna, they're
Sure.
not gonna lie to you.
It could be a question of, social norms, but when I challenge a listener, if they're looking for a specific spirit,
Nail it.
ask them to bring the bottle.
Especially if you're buying it in a metro area like New York,
Yeah,
DC, LA, Nashville, Miami.
right.
You gotta be getting what you're paying for.
Exactly.
No doubt about it.
Thank you.
Well, I guess.
Pooba's ruminating in the corner over there.
Well, I think he's just
don't-
shocked
just
about
don't-
Bougie Bam.
Just don't do it with me around.
You got
It's
it.
just it's an
I'll do it,
I'm out.
especially when you're around.
It's an aggressive card to play.
Yeah.
Me and Grinder are out on that. I mean,
All
you
right.
do that. We're, it's,
You're out?
I'm out.
I-
Well, yeah, you just
Lean-
get the bill.
You know
Fine,
what,
you're
kids?
good.
Then I'll enjoy a great drink on my own.
There you go.
I'm good.
You'll be okay.
Oh yeah.
You can do whatever you want. Just grab the tab at the end.
Yeah, sure. I got
I
it.
want to behave like that.
Behave like that. Oh,
So,
boy.
boys, we're about halfway through here on the Drew Estate Herrera Esteli Norteño in Lonsdale. Wow.
I want to hear from Pagoda.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it, but I'm seeking a bit more of the coke, and maybe because we talked a little bit about the exclusive. I'm just seeking a bit more. But That's
Really?
it. Yeah, but overall, really enjoyable.
It's hitting me right where it counts.
To what Pooba talked about earlier,
Mhm.
I'm totally in line with that. Obviously, it's I'm happy to be here tonight, happy to be recording, but the cigar is just adding that extra 10% on the evening for me that it's like I am really in the zone right now with this cigar. Totally.
But
in
on the
zone.
other hand, I must say that every time I take a sip of Macallan, then have a little puff. It's excellent.
By the way, we gave
It-
you the
it-
blue box.
Was it a blue pill or a red pill?
I will take it.
Ask for the bottle next time.
Yeah, you
I
better
can-
get the bottle.
I can drink anything for sure. No,
So-
but the blue box. I think the issue with that is it's just got so much of a bite in that Macallan.
It does.
It's like it's very noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
this cigar is also much better than the one I had like a couple of years ago when they first came out. Maybe it was fresh, and since this has been sitting in your humidor, I think that this has really.
Did you have it in the same Vitola?
Did they have another one that
They have.
came out?
I
Yeah,
think
they have several,
They
right?
have 4 or 5. I think they have 4 Vitolas.
Mm.
Yeah. They probably have a Robusto, a Toro.
They
I
have
would
a big.
think.
They have a big ring gauge too. I think they have. This might be the most narrow. No, I think there's another narrow one actually.
Mm.
It was
I can
either
look
this
this up.
size or bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's. I think it. When I first grabbed these, I didn't realize that I had another box, so I ordered some more from Atlantic, and that's a great segue into buying cigars. But this past week before I left on my business trip.
Sorry,
I was
Grinder, you can't tell yourself that was a great segue. We have to tell you.
That was a bougie Bam move.
Since when is Bam Bam bougie?
Oh, tonight.
Really?
Every day. Tonight's the night.
Oh,
Episode
that's an
77.
oxymoron.
Bam,
I
this is bougie Bam.
Bam, this is Bam.
Don't say Bam. This is Bam.
But I got these cigars from Atlantic, and then I was looking through in my humidor before I left on my trip because I was going to a cigar lounge and I wanted to bring some cigars to it. And I found this box that was sitting in the bottom of my humidor, right where it should be, in the perfect spot. And I forgot it. And it was like, did you ever have those moments where you're digging in your humidor and you're like, holy shit, I totally forgot about this.
Yeah.
And it was an extra box, and the wrapper was still on it, and it's been there for I haven't touched it for 2 years, so or 2 or 3 years, I forget. But
Wow.
I'm of a different opinion about Nicaraguan cigars. I think they need to age a lot more to get that more nuanced or the softer flavor post packaging, right? Because like Cuban cigars, post packaging, there's some more aging that can happen. These are already aged a little bit, and then they're packaged. This is not a hypothesis that I can test by any means, but I would say that the variability of flavor profile in Nicaraguan cigars, especially as rich as these are, is de minimis.
You're totally right. I mean, when you talk about, if you smoke this fresh like you do a Cuban cigar, the marginal difference with a year or 3 years, 100%. With this, with let's say 4 or 5 years, with an additional 3, that difference is marginal.
Most of the changing in the aging process is happening in the pilones, in that very specific setting in the warehouse. That's where that all the chemical reactions happen. It's not really in the box.
Well, the only thing I may dispute that a little bit with the 80th that we smoked,
Right.
where Senator aged his cigars
that was a great
for
cigar.
4 years, and they sat in his tower, and they were just
That was an amazing cigar.
It was.
But would you say it was 100% better than it was?
I don't know, Senator. What do you think?
I would say they were probably 20% better than any of the 80ths we have.
I think they were much
don't know.
better than that.
I mean, I won't even use my opinion here. I heard guys sit here and tell me that
Dude.
I ruined the 80th for them.
Well, that's
Yeah, you
proven.
did.
because it was so much better than the regular 80th. They're like,
Right.
no, I can't even smoke the regular
Right.
one.
It may depend on the cigar,
Totally.
for all we know.
Totally.
Right?
But I think Grinder's got a good point.
No, he
here.
does. Of
Yeah,
course.
he has a great
Oh,
point.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just remember having this cigar like when it first came out, and it wasn't like this.
Yeah.
This is very pleasant. It's kind of smoothed off a little.
Yep. I
bit.
had
That was
one-
harsh
Well,
back then.
we can test. We can get some. We can go and procure some more boxes
And
some
just sit on
fresh- and or not, and
Well,
say,
hold
okay,
on.
let's smoke this.
Yeah.
That's
No, it could have also
fresh.
been a different Vitola. So I don't. You know,
Oh, right,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
I had this cigar a month ago, and it was sitting in my desktop, and it wasn't as good as this.
Hmm.
I will tell you that.
So how much better is this?
It's much better.
Yeah.
It's real 50%,
Wow.
60% better than my
Really?
experience originally.
Okay. So there you go.
All right. So it needs some age, but what's encouraging is I'm enjoying this so much it's worth that time.
Agreed.
Like I would just buy a box, just tuck it in the back of my tower,
And forget about it.
and not touch it for a year. Or
And
two,
you know what? The thing that adds to that for me, Senator, is something you said very early on, I think before we lit it, is how good it feels in the hand. Even down to past the halfway point now. I'm like, it's just very comfortable to hold with the box press, with the size. It just feels really good in the hand.
Yeah.
On top of how well it's smoking.
You look great with that cigar.
Thanks, Bam.
Also, the combustion out of this thing
incredible.
is
Look at the room.
awesome.
It's incredible.
Look at the room.
Yeah.
It's like a
incredible.
velvety smoke, and
Yeah.
it just, Puba earlier said long finish. It's so satisfying each
Yeah.
puff.
I think the velvety smokes also inside the mouth, right? Like when you have it, like you get a good smoke output. It just fills your mouth.
And
It's-
Giz
it's
said
excellent.
earlier how it coats your mouth beautifully.
coats,
It
yeah.
really does the job.
And the Macallan is really helping that too.
And the long finish on the Macallan as well.
Yeah.
Works great.
It's a great pairing for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So Grinder was talking earlier. I just want to touch on this really quick because it sparked something. He was talking about smoking this in the springtime. We're in that time now. Obviously, we're in April, right? What are some of the cigars you like to smoke? Because we're getting into the summer.
Well, we know. I mean,
the Exclusivo, of course.
The QD for me
The
is
QD
really
Coronas,
where
the Que Dorce Coronas Claros from Cuba.
Yeah, I also like the QD 54 this time of year. For me, that's a home run. Those two cigars, different time of day. The Claro and the 54 are outstanding into the spring.
So I like when my springtime cigars, I have a lighter, taste. I have a lighter palate. But when springtime comes around, I intrinsically in my mind, I'm thinking of new, fresh cigars because it's springtime. And I always turn to Cubans at that time and Davidoff. And I'll put away my Nicaraguans. And oddly enough, we're smoking a Nicaraguan now, but I'll usually put away my Nicaraguans and then it's Cuban season. And that lasts pretty much all summer for me. And then fall is when I get back into Nicaraguans, a little harsher climate, harsher cigar, not harsher, but a little stronger, more fuller bodied, stuff like that. So when springtime rolls around, I'm QD 54. That's when I whip them out, and then I'm smoking them all day, every day.
But that Claro though,
and
Claro's great.
And I'm back, and then I'm going deep into Davidoff, the very traditional. There's like a very distinct Davidoff flavor with a lot of cigars in their lines. Smoking all of those. I won't go into the late hour. I won't go into the Davidoff Nicaraguan, but I'll stick to the very traditional white label cigars, and QD 54. And the Ras, Ras is an all-time cigar.
Love
for
the
me.
Ras.
Yeah.
Ramon Ionis, so versatile,
yeah.
specially selected.
Yeah.
And the Claros you mentioned as well, obviously fantastic. So that's what I think of springtime cigars.
Yeah, I'm with you there. The Ramon Ionis, the Ras is so versatile. I love it. So yeah, I'm with you on that. So two things. The Exclusivo for me outside. So I'm
best.
smoking a lot outside. So there's two cigars that I find myself going to really. One is the Exclusivo because I'm outside. And if I'm going to smoke on my porch between the combustion, the flavor, whatever, I go to that cigar more actually outdoors particularly during a round of golf where this would slot. Because you got a golf cart, you're driving around, or you're handling it. The wrapper's tough enough that it can take some abuse. You can kind of drop it in the grass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just leave it in grass.
I mean,
I'll get it later.
That's what you do.
That's what you do.
There's
you
so much
drop it in the
technology.
grass.
Can I help you, please?
No.
Let me buy you an accessory.
No.
When you're playing golf, you don't have time for accessories.
Oh, you got
He'll have a holder for your
Hold
pot
on.
pie in the golf cart.
the golf cart has a great little platform to keep a cigar on.
Wait, sorry to interrupt, Pooba, but you've seen Caddyshack where Dangerfield is
Rodney Dangerfield.
Rodney Dangerfield
Yeah.
pulls out the keg of beer, the music. That is Gizmo on a golf course.
Yes. If I golfed, that's me.
Yeah, you're shooting a 150 that day.
Yeah, so it slots there for me. The Ramon Ionis is specially selected like as a daytime cigar or literally like anytime. I mean, is so good, right? And then for me, H. Upman, the Upman 2, in particular in the summertime during the day, for me, those dessert flavors work. But I'm also like, it's a tough question for me too, because I really only smoke certain things. Do you know what I mean? I like D4s. I like Upman 2s. I like Ras. I like the Corona Claros.
Yeah.
I like an Exclusivo. And if that's all I had to live on for the rest of my life, I'd probably just fucking.
He's all set if that's the case.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
That's all I smoke as well.
So I'm glad Pooba brought up the Exclusivo in the springtime because I'm more in the camp. I definitely don't put away Nicaraguans for the spring or even summer, but especially spring. The thing with spring, like the weather is very unpredictable in the spring.
That's true.
Right? It gets breezy sometimes. The nights can actually get very cool. It's a wild card. So for me, like the summer is where I can more reliably trust lighting up a Cuban where it's very still, it's warm, it's not very breezy. that smoke stays near me.
Yeah, the humidity's helping.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
appreciate the aroma, which like is why you most of the time you really prefer a Cuban cigar indoors, because they're not full flavored cigars. They're usually medium, and so you kind of need that full experience to appreciate it. Where I more readily reach for, and like I would reach for this Norteño or an Exclusivo or some other Nicaraguans in the spring when it's breezier, that smoke's not going to stay right there necessarily. It's going to go with the breeze, and there's so much flavor in it that I'm still being satisfied without having that complete experience. So I do reach for these a lot. I'll kind of in the afternoon start with a lot of the Cubans that have been mentioned, but definitely in the evening, or if it's a breezy afternoon, I'll pull for a Nicaraguan that can withstand all of that.
It really depends on your setting. Personally, for me, where my little smoking area is on the side of the house, it's kind of contained, so I don't get a lot of breeze or wind. I'll often go for the QD line, and honestly, the Bolivar line for me works great in the spring. But it's like Senator said, you have to really watch and see what the weather's like. If you've got a breeze, absolutely, I agree with Puba. Go for the Exclusivo. Even honestly, the D4 on a slightly warmer summer day with a slight breeze, I think works great.
Yep.
It really does work great.
We wouldn't know about that spot, Ben.
Wow. You've
Well
been there.
played. Once.
Oh my
We were all
God.
there once.
I am out.
I want to interject.
He's still working on the string lights.
I am. What the fuck?
By the way, I just want to tell the listener, I've never been to Bam's house. Grinder, go ahead.
All right.
No, I just.
You know what?
Neither has Pagoda
Mrs.
or
Bam Bam
Puba.
will be very hospitable to you that day.
Oh, excellent.
but not Bam.
Not Bam.
No.
Bam's busy.
I'm ignored at home. I am ignored.
I want to correct myself. The price that I just quoted earlier was incorrect. It's actually $2.25 a cigar, or $10.25 a cigar.
$10.25.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, this
Wow.
is
This is a $10 cigar?
It's a steal.
Wow.
You can buy a box of 25 for $2.55 at CI.
it's
So,
crazy.
so for me, springtime, summer, I'm lucky. I smoke in my garage. I'm not smoking outside as much anymore. But as the warmer weather comes in, I'm reaching so much for the El Rey del Mundo Schwa Supreme.
Oh,
Dude,
another good
I
one.
forgot about that cigar.
Now, I can't smoke that when if there's any wind conditions, I can't do it.
No.
But that and the Coronas Claro, the QD we've just talked about, that absolutely will start my day. I don't reach for the 50 or 54. I know you guys do that sometimes earlier in the day.
The 50's outstanding.
I always go for the QD Coronas Claros or the Schwa Supreme, but I love reaching for the Exclusivo in the spring and summer, especially outside. If I have
Sure.
some time outside, I'm always reaching for the Exclusivo. And by the way, when I go to Florida for as long as I do in the summer, I'm almost exclusively smoking Nicaraguans because of the unpredictability, the level of humidity. I'm always reaching for that.
Right.
I'm glad that you mentioned the
Yeah,
QD50.
yeah.
So Bam was mentioning the QD54 earlier. For any listener who likes the QD line, what has become one of my absolute favorite morning smokes, the QD50, that little short smoke in the morning with coffee. When we were in Cuba, you saw me light
Oh,
that
yeah.
most
Oh, yeah.
mornings.
Yeah.
Springtime out on the deck with a coffee. It's perfect.
I'm so happy that I was able to introduce QD
right. I
to
was
the
just
listeners.
Yes,
Grinder turned us
Does he
on.
take credit for that?
He's taking credit.
I'm taking credit
Because
he
I was a very hardline Nicaraguan cigar smoker. And then I talk about this guy all the time. He's a real lizard. My mentor, my colleague, boss,
He loves the QD
friend.
line. Yeah.
He introduced me to QD, and then I fell in love, and that's kind of shifted my palate to a lighter cigar. And then I was really deep into Cubans as well, obviously with you guys as well. And the QD, it influenced me so much that I like in the summertime. I like to eat, do the Monte Cristo White Label in Churchill all the time. In the summertime, not necessarily in the spring, but I more like spring is the start of summer to me.
Yep.
Which is a different philosophy from what I'm hearing from you guys, because I'm thinking like, okay, warmer weather is here. Let's just dive into it. But I'm so happy to hear you guys embrace QD because it just warms my heart. And
Oh, yeah.
Senator introduced me to the 50, and I'm in lockstep with what he said. That morning smoke with that little guy,
it's perfect.
it's perfect. It's a perfect cigar, spring and summer. It's fantastic. Now, in the summer, you mentioned the Exclusivo. I like it as dusk comes and it gets darker,
Yeah.
a little cooler with a fire. It is unbeatable.
perfect.
It's unbeatable.
So the other thing I want to say too is, sometimes in the morning before I start work or in the afternoon around lunch, I love a couple short smokes. 2 specifically in the spring and summer that work for me perfectly. The Partagas short with a cup of coffee.
I haven't had
from
that in
Cuba.
a while.
The Partagas short from Cuba is
It
so
outpunches its weight class.
Yeah.
like,
It's
in such a big way.
unbelievable for its price. And the other one that we've mentioned a few times recently, actually,
The
is
half
the
Corona.
is
Up
the
in-
Tatuaje
Oh, the
Petite Cazadores.
Cazadores.
That works for me so well in the springtime.
So Rooster turned me on. I'm not sure if he turned the rest of you on.
Same.
You introduced me to that cigar.
It's a
I'm
great-
very
great
thankful.
cigar.
It's an
Yeah.
excellent cigar.
Yeah,
Actually, who gave me that?
I've been waiting to. I'm sorry. I've been waiting to say 3 cigars for barbecuing.
Go.
My 3 go-to cigars if I go out to cook are, depending on like what I've eaten or whatever.
Are you making chicken
on the
francais?
stronger side would be the Partagas short because it actually punches.
It does.
It punches above its weight
It
class.
works so
and
well
it's
with
such a great,
espresso.
and they age great, and they come in a cabinet for a reason because it's actually a premium short cigar.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Okay, it's a premium short cigar.
Yep.
So you've got the Partagas short, you've got the H. Upmann half Corona, which is a great smoke
Yep.
if you're out doing that. And then the third one is the Ramon Alones
Small Club Corona.
Small Club Corona, which is a fantastic short cigar.
What a
So
lineup.
those are those three short
Great
cigars, the short Club Corona, the short, and the Upmann half Corona are, to me, the 3 best.
It's the Legion of Doom.
Short,
Yeah, it really is.
Legion of Doom.
I know.
Short cigars that are really outstanding.
I
in
know.
my view.
I know. Senator's going somewhere, but I have to say, I'm also going to thank Puba for introducing me to that Ramon Alones Club Corona. That is really a delicious
Great cigar.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, so I just want to say, like, cigars in general, I don't think I have a seasonal preference to certain cigars that I only smoke.
Yeah,
in
he
the-
does a 90th at breakfast.
No, but I mean, like, you don't smoke like certain cigars in the spring that I don't smoke in the wintertime.
Mm.
Maybe exception would be the late hour.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I tend to smoke more in the winter.
That's
So
a great point.
I agree with you. I think it's more for me.
It's the size
They're
and
not-
breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So start off with a lighter cigar, then go a little bit heavier, and then a little bit more fuller bodied, like after dinner.
But that aside, for me, I'm kind of in the middle of, like, obviously, like Giz has, it sounds like, very strong preferences for certain sticks in certain seasons. Obviously, for Rooster, it's kind of all year round. For me, I'm somewhere in between where everything that's been named, I'm smoking at some point year round. There's not like a season where I say I won't touch that cigar.
Right.
Yeah.
But what happens is I do pull more for certain cigars during certain seasons. So
Mhm.
I'll
I
smoke.
think that's a fair comment.
I-
that-
that's
that
fair,
applies-
yeah.
the
yeah.
point is, like, the QD Coronas Claros, perfect example. I'll smoke that cigar year round, but I do pull for it more in the spring or summertime because those, like, floral notes just are perfect for that season. But you've seen me smoke them in the fall, the winter. I mean, I love that cigar.
That's an exception. I think that and the late hour more in the wintertime, and Coronas Claro more in the summer.
So this actually tees up a really interesting question that a Lizard listener emailed us about. Lizard Keith. The subject was where to start. And he started by saying, Lizards, I am a Lizard light division. He said, I have so many questions for you guys. Really, the most important thing is, have you thought about doing a podcast to help us newbies, which obviously, we're always trying to help newbies out. Obviously, email us if you have any questions and whatnot. But the biggest thing he had was, can you give us some tips on the best sources to procure cigars, both New World and Cuban? So I think that's something that we've named a lot of cigars that we love, Cuban and non-Cuban. What are some of the places that you currently, we're talking about April 23 here, right? What are some of the places that you're reaching out to find the cigars that you love, Cuban and non-Cuban? So Grinder, go ahead.
I think I'll go first because Keith, I met Lizard Keith on a fairly recent trip that I was on, and He was so gracious and tried to share some cigars, which I think may have been lost in transit or something. But
Pagoda smoked them.
yeah, he narked them on the way. I think for New World, I think there's different sources, and I think we can bifurcate them adequately across New World and Cuban because there's different sites. The New World side, I recommend one site first and foremost for all lizards or aspiring lizards, and that's Atlantic Cigar. And I recommend, if you are truly a lizard, try to get the VIP because it pays for itself.
It's so worth
so quickly, especially if you can buy maybe a couple cigars or one shipment or whatever, and it pays for itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what, $60 a year or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
know,
That's right.
So it's like if you buy a box or two, it pays for itself.
Now but you're saving money not just on the shipping costs, but also
the actual price of the cigar.
There's a VIP pricing that is also discounted, and the discount the regular price is already discounted. So and the customer service there is fantastic. Literally, I can recount stories of how many times they were so gracious, whereby I lost a cigar box and they sent me an extra one the day after. It's very prompt, and there's been times where I didn't get a box delivered, and it's been lost and supposedly lost. They sent me another box, and then the other original one came eventually anyway, and they said, "Hey, just keep it. It's on us."
Yeah.
Like the customer service there is phenomenal.
Amazing customer service.
It pales in comparison to an experience like CI,
With Cigars International for the
which is, it's actually they have a lot of cigars. They actually are very discounted, and you can get access to a lot of good cigars there, and they give away so many cigars. So as a newbie, I went to CI a lot, and I got exposed to a lot of different cigars because I would take advantage of the deals that they were offering.
Yep.
And they would just throw cigars at you in these sample packs, these free fivers or something like that. And that's a great place to get introduced to. But once you get settled and you know what you're smoking, move to Atlantic. And
you really got to take the leap of faith there. It's not like you can see the VIP prices before you've actually
Just
purchased
trust
the
us.
VIP. Trust us. It's a significant savings.
awesome.
Your first order
It's
will much more than pay for
it's
the
tremendous.
I
It's
will say the
tremendous.
lizards in this room are all very scrupulous, diligent, and have a high attention to detail. We've done the tests of looking at the pricing.
done the work for you.
Regular people just going through the website and then going to VIP, and the discounts are significant.
I've actually put stuff in my cart, not logged in, and been like, "Oh wow, this is a great price." And then I log in, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I wasn't logged in,"
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
price drops like
Atl-
significantly.
Atlantic is a tremendous
Because of
resource.
VIP.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
also
Atlantic's
also
great.
helps that they're out of PA,
Yeah.
right? Atlantic, so it's
Yeah.
like no tobacco
But
tax.
you know,
Florida,
Yeah.
PA,
Yeah.
states like
the
that.
tobacco tax helps, but also the fact that I'll place an order at 11 p.m. and by 5 a.m. I have a shipping.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's
Their
true.
shipping is unmatched.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
How quick the orders are fulfilled. If you even purchase during business hours, I've placed an order at 2:00 in the afternoon. At 2:15, I'm getting a shipment notification.
Yeah.
It's gone out with a tracking.
true.
It's like the Amazon of cigars.
It is.
true. It's true.
Yeah, it's
So
fantastic.
I think universally Atlantic is number one for all of us in this
Agreed.
room.
Agreed.
I mean, some of the others, like you were talking about, places that like send samplers or other free kind of goodies when you place an order. I was surprised there was something I was looking for. Maybe it was like a box of Padrones and everyone was sold out for some reason. And Fox Cigar,
Fox cigars,
Yeah.
they're unbelievable with the
they're
gifts.
They're crazy.
And they write you a
handwritten note. It's
every
like-
every order, not your first order, not your 10th. Every single order, they
That's
write
cool.
you a handwritten
So
note.
what do you mean gifts?
So
They
they
send
just
you
send you a bunch
cigars.
of free. It's like bodyguards, but like by the dozens. It almost feels like.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah.
you get so much stuff. I just remember I couldn't find. Everyone was sold out of some Padrone box. Fox had just started to carry not just the 1000 series, but all the other stuff. And I had ordered from them. It's just a simple order, I don't know, maybe a box, maybe two, and I get all this extra free stuff.
It's
and like
very
some of them
cool.
were actually like decent smokes, and the handwritten note, like you said, just customer service, everything top notch.
The other
That's
two
nice.
that I like for New Worlds are Cigars Direct.
Mhm.
They always have great promos. You can always get a great promo. I like Smoke In,
Yeah.
which is out of Florida.
Yep.
Run by this guy, Honest Abe is his name.
Good website.
Great website,
Yep.
but they have a ton of stuff. And for stuff that's hard to find, like nuanced stuff, like boutique stuff, small batch cigars.
Bingo.
Excellent retailer.
I have never looked at that site.
Yeah,
but
they're very, very good. We've actually gotten a lot of the Lanceros that we've done and or will be doing in the next few weeks.
From there?
I've gotten from small batch.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're very, very good.
There's one more I'd like to suggest, a Cigar Page. Cigar Page for New Worlds is great because they don't charge for shipping at all. And the
Oh.
prices are very, very competitive.
Nice.
So I know a lot of people who just use Cigar Page. In fact, they can be as competitive as Atlantic after the VIP. So
Yeah.
And I'll round it out one more time here. There's a site that's also based out of PA. I think it's based out of Philly, actually. Holtz.
Holtz Cigars.
Holtz has some good deals sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. That's a good
So
one.
does
It's-
another
it's
one
at-
in PA is Best Cigar Prices.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, they're a
but-
good one too.
Yeah.
And Holt shipping is very, very fast.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
out of Philly, I think.
because of where we live, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they
So
do a good
before-
job.
So before we get to Cuban, because we have some Cuban recommendations,
Mhm.
let's touch on. We're coming into the last third here on the
It's-
Norteño Lonsdale.
Honestly, it's as consistent as many of the Padrones that I've had.
Yeah, it's
The
delivered a
consistency is amazing,
very
yeah.
excellent Nicaraguan
Sure,
cigar experience
sure.
tonight. I am shocked, honestly.
I'm
I'll be-
stunned.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. Puba, what are you thinking?
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
very, very good.
Yeah.
very relaxing.
Yeah, this has been really good. All right, so let's talk about Cuban cigars.
That's a little tougher.
For Cuban cigars, it's a bit of a rat's nest. And the most important thing to remember when you're trying to procure Cuban cigars in the United States is that if it's too good to be true, it is. 100%. For every single authentic, good, decent, well-run Cuban cigar retailer that sells to people in the United States, there are 100 that are trying to steal your money, steal your identity, steal your credit card. It's very important. Okay? So, we're going to name some of the retailers that we appreciate and have done right by us and sell authentic Cuban cigars. And if they do not have what you want, stop looking and wait for these retailers to have what you want. If you find something on a site that your gut is, your antennae are going up and saying, "Hey, I don't know about this. Email us, and we will tell you if it's authentic or not, because you will get screwed." Even on a box of D4s, even on a box of Monty 4s, even on the stuff you can find everywhere, you will get screwed. So, I'm going to name some of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head that I appreciate, and we'll go from there. Number one, I love FOH, Friends of Habanos, Friends of El Habano now, out of Australia. I Havanas, gray market dealer. They are, if you're a newbie looking to buy Cuban cigars, ihavanas.com is the place to go.
It's a very easy website to navigate.
Easy website.
Yep.
And if they don't have what you want, give it a day, give it a 2, give it a week, give it 2. Just wait, because it will
and
pop
free
up.
shipping.
And free shipping on everything.
Yeah. FOH requires a membership though, right?
It doesn't require membership. You just got to be on their forum and you got to know how to find
You
what
got to
they're
navigate through that
just
process.
if you're a little bit diligent, you'll find out how to figure it out.
Mhm.
But FOH and I Havanas are number 1 and 2 for me, for sure. Some of the others that we can go through, Cigar Terminal is very good.
That's true.
Puro Express is very good.
Cigars of Cuba. Is that one?
COH.
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 COH
Cigars
cigars.
of Habanos.
Yeah, it's COH cigars now.
Mm.
What are some of the others that I'm missing here, guys?
Promo cigar.
Promo Cigar.
Which has just started shipping again.
Yep.
And
That's a good one.
they have decent prices, but their
That's tough.
packaging is
Yeah. Listen, with any of these,
Where are they out of now? They're out of
Cyprus.
Cyprus.
with any of these, you just have to remember when you place that
Yeah,
order, it's
yeah.
not Amazon Prime.
Right.
It's going to take a while. Another one that we really like is EGM cigars and
a
Bellhop.
little bit on the higher side.
Yeah.
Bellhop
price.
is cool.
Bellhop's
Bellhop's
Bellhop
cool.
is out of Canada.
Yeah,
But
they're
their
cool.
prices, because the Canadian tax can
That's
get
true.
rough.
That's true.
But-
And also, customs through is not easy.
Yeah, it's tough
Wow.
there.
I didn't want to go there, but that's true.
The other one too is RSVP. They have a lot of good stuff.
Mm.
Sometimes their prices are okay. But really, there's not a ton of good Cuban retailers that ship to the United States that can be trusted.
There is a bit of a risk regardless of where you're buying from.
And by the way, if you go on our Instagram at Lounge Lizards Pod, if you go onto our page, you click one of the little circles, it'll say trusted retailers. There's a full list of Lounge Lizards approved trusted retailers that you can find Cuban cigars at. So if you don't see a site you're about to buy cigars from on that list, do not buy them. Do not buy them. Very, very simple.
The other thing I'll flag for listeners is that if you are ordering from anywhere that is going to sell single Cuban cigars,
100%.
do not buy it.
Yeah.
If it is a Facebook group,
Right.
if it is some website that
An
tells
individual.
you an individual that they can give you 5 D4s or whatever Cuban cigar you can think, if you're not getting a box that you can verify, and you can listen to certainly other episodes to know some of the tells of box codes and seals and all of those things. If you don't have that, there is absolutely no way to be certain. And 99, if not 100% of the time, they're fake.
Yeah.
It requires an education to purchase and procure Cuban cigars.
And we have done the homework. We have gone through the process. So we have learned from our mistakes.
And if you're patient and you trust us, which if you're listening to this podcast, I hope you do, you have to be aware that Google is not your friend here. We are your friends. Trust us. And if they do not have what you want, that's because it's not available.
And I would also, to add to that, if you're on social media, and there are predatory groups or predatory people, within Facebook groups that will take advantage of newbies. They'll take advantage of new people.
Absolutely.
And if you have an individual that's out there that's selling singles, I think that's something that you need to really look out for. The singles that aren't color matched, singles that they're claiming are vintage and aged. You need to actually stay away from that, because what ends up happening is any singles, if there's someone who's selling cigars out there and they're selling them as singles and they only sell singles and they only sell loose cigars, that's a real tell.
Red flag.
That's a real tell for a reason, because there's no box codes. There's
That's
no
exactly
dates.
Right. You're buying
They're
by
not cover
box.
badged, and you got to really buy Cuban cigars by the box.
By the
or
box, right.
if you're part of a really trusted group that takes, that's really monitored, because there are a lot of Cuban cigar groups out on social media that are predatory, and you will be ripped off badly.
Some of the greatest fraudsters that I've ever seen are in the Cuban cigar business, because it's easy for these people to prey on the fact that we are all, us included, we are all desperate to get these cigars in our hands and cut them and light them and smoke them. They know this. They will take your money and they will run with it. So you have to really, like, unlike anything else, really.
So also the fact that we named some of these sites, they actually guarantee delivery.
Yes.
So if a box does get confiscated,
snagged, let's call it snagged. Yeah.
They will you send them an email and they will replace it.
Right.
Or refund it.
Here's a question from the perspective of a new Cuban guy
Is this from BAM?
Yeah, this is from BAM.
So this is BAM.
With the full tower.
Are you every marca is targeted as far as a counterfeit cigar and being cautious?
Currently, with the current prices,
single marca.
With the current prices, you have to assume that even at a D4, let's say, or a Monte 4,
or a Bolivar Royal Corona,
yes, anything right now is so easy for them to get an authentic band or close to it and throw it on a cigar that looks very good. It's very easy for these folks to steal money from you, because they're buying them for pennies. And they're selling them for you, to you at a 10,000% markup. and they're making a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
Well, especially Cohibas and Trinidad,
Well,
because of the price point.
I didn't want to go
But
there.
it's everything.
But that's
It's
It's everything.
But
Do you know how many
So
listeners
that's
I've
why
had?
I asked the question, right?
Right.
So is it market specific
No.
or is it really
No,
across the
it's
board?
everything.
across
It's
the
everything.
board.
You know how many
Yeah, but-
listeners I've had send me photos of bolivars that someone gave them? They were at a cigar lounge, and some nice person that they started chatting with.
Oh, we were
well-
here. We were
no,
here.
no,
yeah.
not here, not here.
Oh,
This
okay.
is in Texas. I'm talking about. Well-intentioned, handed someone a cigar. You should try this. It's a Cuban. I got these. They're great. And he sends me a photo, and you can immediately, I can tell from the band, it's totally fake. Now, like Bam is saying, we've also seen this here in New Jersey.
Sure.
But this happens everywhere. So even when someone hands you a cigar and tells you it's a Cuban, they may be well-intentioned, but a lot of the time,
Yeah.
if you do the homework, even those are fake.
There are telltale signs that a Cuban is not what
You
it's.
you
should be,
have to
yeah.
assume that if anyone is trying, as Puba said, singles out of the question. But if anyone is DMing you on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, you have to assume that anyone that is doing business by DM on social media is a fraudster. You have to make that assumption. And if you are willing to ignore what we're saying, so be it. Good luck. But those stories do not end
It's a
well.
tough conversation.
ever.
This is a very tough
Some
conversation.
dire prophecy.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Gizmo.
Well,
it's
no,
true.
No, well,
It's
yeah,
very tough.
And,
Yeah.
and look out for I think one tell is the chest pounding. So you have people. I have this. The too good to be true thing. Like I have this, and this is this, and I'm gonna sell cigar. We're having a sale, or I'm doing that. This is all bullshit.
Yep.
If got collectors, selling cigars between each other, real collectors, people who are maybe, who have had cigars on hand and maybe they need to monetize those and move those out. Those are the type of people, like real people so you have to find the real people who are, who are legitimate and aren't looking to actually take advantage of people. And that's hard to navigate. So I would just suggest,
and if you're a newbie, that's not the place to start.
Yeah.
The place to start is
It's
with the
online.
trusted retailers that
Right.
we've named, that we've
Right.
listed on that little circle that I mentioned on our Instagram page. Start there and start discovering for yourself, educating yourself on what having a real box of Cuban cigars, a D4 box, a RAS box, a box of Upman 2s or Monty 2s, what that feels like, what it looks like, what it smells like, what those cigars taste like. Start there. Do not start on social media.
But from the
Yes,
from the
that's right.
realistic point of
That's
view
correct.
of a new guy or girl getting into Cuban cigars, you mentioned you mentioned Cigar Terminal. These are easy places to go and buy.
So easy.
They're very easy. Now there's other sites that should go unmentioned in this room, I guess.
Yep.
You have to. I personally would probably question how are they reviewing their cigars in comparison to other sites.
Can we let the record reflect
Go ahead.
that Bam Bam just said it's so easy to buy from these websites?
Well, it
Just
is.
let's
How
let
many
the
orders
record
have you
reflect
placed?
that.
Okay.
It's so easy for Bam to trust Gizmo.
To the listener, I rely on my lizard brothers. And there's
Well-
nothing. And you know what? There's nothing
There's
wrong with
nothing
that.
wrong
Listen,
with
there's
that.
nothing wrong with it.
You know what it is? It's brotherly love.
There you go.
Make it
By
happen.
the way, when are the books coming from?
That's a great question.
That's a great question. So that I actually talked to Alex Groom. So Puba asked about El Habano Moderna, which is a new book coming out, which details the current entire range of the Habanos catalog from Cuba. It's the follow-up to Min Rani's book, The Encyclopedia of Post-Revolution Cuban Cigars. It was supposed to come out in November, I believe. It's now April. I think we're coming up on May or June. They will be delivered.
Are we ever getting this money back? Giz?
Wow.
I actually talked to the author the other day. He's a great
Cuban,
guy.
He runs.
He runs Cuban Cigar website, which
Cuban
is the
Cigar
absolute
website, right.
authority. on
Right.
Cuban
So I wanted
cigars.
to mention Cuban Cigar website because it's cubancigarwebsite.com. That's a very, very, very reliable place to go for research
For reference, yeah.
and for reference and validation.
Can you say that at
because
CubanCigarWebsite.com?
cubancigarwebsite.com
Ah.
that because it because if you're buying whether you're buying vintage cigars or new cigars, it has all of the bands, it has all of the vitolas, and it's a very educational site, and it's all validated. So CubanCigarWebsite.com has a lot of the things that you should look at that.
Yeah. And by the way, for the listener, to piggyback on what Pooh is saying, every other week we smoke a Cuban cigar, and before the episode starts, I open Cuban Cigar website, and I pull up the vitola information, the size, the dimensions, everything from CubanCigarWebsite.com. Every single time we do a Cuban cigar, it is the absolute encyclopedia reference online for Cuban cigars.
I love it. You're just telling me now.
Everybody else knows, I think.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Cuban Cigar
We all
websites.
knew that. What? Where have you been?
Episode 77, folks.
I am
Episode
not.
77.
I am not a procurement expert.
This is Bougie Bam.
This I admit.
It's not a site that sells cigars.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
It's not for procurement. It's for education.
No, it's for
It's
education.
informational. Yeah.
I will be heavily diving into that.
Yeah,
thing.
I can't. What do you mean? We've talked about that 100
So
times.
Gizmo,
No,
when are you putting out the audiobook of it so that you
For the
can read it
listener,
to Bev?
this is
And
the
like-
first time that was ever mentioned.
And like
That is
Ever.
not true.
It is true.
We're gonna have 10 listeners emailing us.
That's patently false.
and also like
Bam, every time we review a Cuban cigar,
Yeah.
he brings it up on his phone and he reads from that.
I didn't know that.
What do you think he's been doing?
All right.
Oh, God.
Where is he? It's not CI for Christ's sake. He's like,
Wait,
I'm just guessing.
when did Gizmo get an iPhone?
That's
I was
true.
never told about this.
that's right.
Wait, you have an iPhone?
This
All right,
is
boys.
A tough group.
We're coming to the end of the Drew Estate Herrera Esteli Norteño in Lonsdale. Any final thoughts before we do the liquor rating on the Macallan?
Excellent cigar.
Great cigar, great
Yeah.
pairing.
Excellent cigar.
The thing that stands out for me is we were so amazed and impressed with this cigar early on, and the question is always, will it continue and hold up? And the final third is consistent with
Yeah.
the flavor profile of the first 2/3. It's held up all the way through. I'm really happy.
Absolutely.
It hasn't changed.
No.
hasn't
It is a
changed at all.
one-act
It
play.
has. Which is
It's
great.
a one-act play.
Now, honestly, so
That's great. That's what I
yeah,
want.
and the Exclusivo is also a one-act play. It
Yeah.
goes all the way through.
Very well blended.
Absolutely.
And we talked about it was lumpy. We were joking about that before we
the
lit it.
wrapper, sure.
No, but we thought there might be a construction issue, but the 7 of us, I think consistently, all of us had a
Yeah.
really
Love it.
good experience tonight with this thing.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So Macallan 12, boys, the perfect pairing, I guess, for most cigars.
Let me take a sip. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. Take
My
a
final
sip.
sip.
Take a sip, Bam, before you rate this thing. Are you ready? Do the formal liquor rating on this thing?
I think it needs some more.
All right. You want a little more?
No, this is my second glass. I'm
All
good.
right. Good.
So I am debating between a 9 and a 10. The history of this spirit, how much we love it. It's a Lizard standard. It's a staple. I'll go a 9.
9.
9.
Grinder.
so I'm actually a hard grade. We never graded this.
We never graded this
No.
scotch. And I'm typically a very hard grader, but I have so much fondness for this. And I was also between a 9 and 10.
Yeah.
I'm going the other side.
There you go.
Ooh.
There you go.
Because I don't drink as much scotch as I used to, but when I reach for scotch, it's always a Macallan 12.
Yeah.
And that's my power alley.
Yeah.
So I'm a 10.
All right.
There you go.
And I don't think I've ever given a 10 on a liquor rating. But
You're a tough guy.
and I certainly love good scotch, other scotches as well. That I probably not rated a 10. But from a nostalgia perspective, between a 9 and a 10 in this moment, it's a 10 for me.
All right. Pagoda.
For me, it's a 10. It's all about experiences. The two bottles I always reach for is either the Belvedere 12 or the Macallan 12 in the sherry cask, and it's just a 10.
All right. Senator. All right, let me skip Senator. I know what that rating is.
Bam, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm a little hurt. I won't
Well,
lie.
I saw it, by the way, when you gave
I
that
know.
9, I saw the daggers.
I saw that. I know.
He was contemplating between a
I
9
was
and a
between a
10.
9 and a 10. There are a few 10s in there that are for me.
The
Yeah.
thing for me, dollar for dollar, it is the best 12-year single malt scotch on the market, period.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I've even said this before. I will any day of the week reach for a Macallan 12, even over a Macallan 18. Macallan 18 is a fantastic spirit. I don't take anything away from that. But what you pay for what you get with this bottle is hard to beat. It's a 10 every day of the week.
I'm right there with you. 100% it's a 10. I kind of fell off Macallan. I don't know for what reason, but
I know.
it's a 10
We
all
got you
day.
into tequila. You were
Yeah,
dabbling
that's-
with some other
All
stuff.
right.
Cognac.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Very good point.
Yep.
It's a 10 all day.
Yep.
It's the best single malt scotch out there for the money. No question. It's a 10 for me.
There you go.
Puba.
Yeah, I've been drinking it for like over 30 years. My
In the shower.
my dad. I mean, my dad's cat is named Macallan. It's a, so just on its on its own, the merits of it are speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then plus you throw in the fact that just how close I am to it. It's just so many experiences, so many conversations, so many great nights, so many times in solitude too, where it's like you come home from a hard day of work or something like that. What am I going to pour? It's Macallan 12, and that's it. So it's a 10 all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
All right.
You mean to say it's a 10? That's a 10. That's a 10.
Well,
It's a 10. It's a 10.
Because of BAM, it's not a 10, 10, 10.
well, and I'll tell you
It'll
why.
always
It-
be.
There is
the formal liquor rating,
There
there
boys.
is nothing.
The
There's
formal
no
liquor
such thing as
rating.
perfection.
It's just
The formal liquor rating,
on every
boys,
level.
is a 9.8.
As close to perfection as you can get.
Wait,
The senator is ready to kill you
I-
right
I
now.
am-
Aren't we rounding up? Should it be a 9 point?
No, it's a 9.83.
9.8.
Okay,
There
sorry.
you go.
9.8, boys.
That's an
on the
incredible
Macallan
score.
12 sherry
Come on.
cask. And now for the Drew Estate Herrera Esteli Norteño in Lonsdale. I'm very interested to see how this scores
Yeah.
tonight.
Me too.
Rooster, you're up.
It's a 9.
All right. Puba.
Yeah, it's a 9 for me.
It's a 9 for me too. Senator.
Easy. 9.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Pagoda.
It's an 8 for me.
Oh.
Oh.
Grinder.
9 for me.
9.
Honestly, for the price point and for what it is and the consistency and how similar it is to a Padron, I have been debating between a 9 and a 10, but I am at a 9. I'm at a 9 at a 9.
All right. The formal Lizard rating on the Drew Estate Herrera Esteli Norteño in Lonsdale is an 8.9.
Excellent score.
Let me tell you something. For a $13 cigar, which I thought it was,
$10.
for the
10.
for,
Wow.
10 and
for
a
a
quarter.
$13 cigar, which I thought it was for most of the podcast,
Fair.
to then be revealed that it was a $10 cigar.
Todo
Todo bien.
bien.
Todo bien. Let's see it. Todo bien.
Todo bien, boys.
Totally.
An 8.9 for a $10 cigar tonight. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's unbelievable.
Well,
Think about it. Padron 1000 series costs how much?
It's about that.
$7.
Yeah.
I'd
But
rather,
that's like
cheaper.
that size though. I think it's a
Also,
little more.
You get a little. It's like an exclusivo, but you get a little extra.
You get
too.
more.
It's a
You
little,
get an
yeah,
extra
you
inch.
do. Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I'd rather reach for this than any of the South 1000 series.
I 100% agree.
Absolutely.
100%.
Oh, it was just for the price comparison. I just
Yeah.
couldn't,
All right, Pooba. Pipe down.
All right, boys. So a 9.8 for the Macallan 12-year in sherry cask, and an 8.9 for the Drew Estate Herrera Esteli Norteño
Mm.
in Lonsdale. What an excellent night and an excellent pairing.
Great pairing.
Great pairing.
Well
Great
done.
pairing.
Well
There's
done.
no
Well
question.
done. Well done. Grinder, thank you for the cigar. Pooba, thank you for the Macallan 12.
Yes, sir.
We're going to expect this every week, by the way. Even when you're in Florida.
Yeah, no,
Just send us a bottle.
we need you here more often than not.
All right, boys. Great night. We'll see y'all next week.
Keep smoking.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us. You can find our merch store and ratings archive at our brand new website, loungelizardspod.com. That's loungelizardspod.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, hello@loungelizardspod.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.